I just put all of the books I wanted to read for this vlog on hold. Surprisingly, only like 2 or 3 of them had a wait. Some of them I'm waiting to pick up physically, and others I have on audio as well as ebooks. I gotta get to it because right now I'm now 12 books behind schedule. Also, this is the chomping that's going on if you hear it in the background. I am packing up to get ready to leave, but last night I started the first book, The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. That was a 3-hour audiobook, and today I started The Ballad of Black Tom by Lavalle, which is also a 3-hour audiobook, which is great because I'm doing so much dog walking. I have a lot of time to listen to things. The Salt Grows Heavy apparently is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, which I didn't understand until I saw someone's review. This one was about a mermaid who, in order to be with this man, becomes mute. She like lost her tongue. She has children, and they are like halflings, of half mermaid, half human. And I think that they destroyed like the whole village they were a part of. So she leaves with, the mermaid leaves with this man, and they come upon these bloodthirsty children or something. 0 thoughts. I gave that 1 star because I had no idea what was going on. I also haven't listened to an audiobook in so long that I just like, nothing was going through my mind when reading this, which kind of sucked because I think Nothing But Black and Teeth by the same author I liked more for sure. As for The Ballad of Black Tom, this apparently also is a retelling of Lovecraft Country, which I don't know the original story of. I was following a little bit more. From what I could tell, it's a little bit urban fantasy. Like I couldn't tell if it was like witchcraft voodoo style. But that was a little bit confusing, but I understood it a little bit more. I just like wasn't really connecting, and with it being such a short story and a retelling, I feel like I was missing so much information, and I really didn't understand the horror aspect of it was. So yeah, kind of off to a great start because I have 2 books down, but also like this isn't really helping my reading ratings. Unsure. I have 2 ebooks left, and then I'm waiting for a couple of them to come from the library physically. I just came back from the library to pick up some books for this vlog, right? So I have Thornhedge by Kingfisher, A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Mallerman, my first Josh Mallerman, I think. Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, which I think this is a sci-fi book. Very short. This one's a little longer because I think it's like bind up, but this is The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. I wanted to just read The Lottery. The train on the way home was very packed, so instead of listening to a podcast, I decided to start Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by LaRocca. I've definitely heard of this author a lot. I don't think I've ever read anything by them, but this, at least the Kindle edition, is like under 150 pages, and so much, like, I'm like, what is going on? And I'm only on like page 60. It really just escalated so quickly, and I don't even know how it turns into this relationship. I think they meet on like, these 2 characters, Zoe and Agnes, meet on a internet chat room, or like they're talking. I think it's kind of like a Reddit thing where Agnes is trying to sell something and meets Zoe, and they start chatting, and they're really just drawn to each other and come into this weird relationship between the servant and the drudge. A contract has been drawn up, and it's going from there. I don't really want to say too much because the description of it is so short on Goodreads. You can't even fucking see that. Sadomasochism, obsession, death. A whirlpool of darkness churns at the heart of a macabre ballet between 2 lonely young women in an internet chat room in the early 2000s. A lot of it's written in back and forth between emails and chat rooms so far. I'm about to start part 3, but I'm hoping to finish it today because, like, what? I need to know what's gonna happen. I need to know how and why, but also, like, what? I came back from seeing Hadestown with my family, and on the train, the only book that would fit in my purse was Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. So this is a novella, a sci-fi novella. And I saw that apparently a lot of booktubers have read actually, but I have no idea what this book is about. I read it and I couldn't tell you. I just know it's sci-fi, and Binti is the first of her people, of the Himba people, to be offered a place at the Umza University. So she has to leave Earth and go off into the galaxy, and her people do not leave the Earth, so a lot of people were telling her not to do this. She's meeting a lot of strangers who do not share her ways or respect her customs, and knowledge comes at a cost. And the world that she enters, she meets the Mid-Jews. It's an alien race that has had a long history with the Umza University, and she's like stuck in the middle, and she's a translator or something. I don't know what's going on, so 1 star. I realized I never spoke about Things Have Gone Worse Since We Last Spoke by LaRocca. I gave it 4 stars because I just like was very, very creeped out. I think in terms of it being a horror, it did a very good job of doing so. I just like was so grossed out that it felt wrong to give it something higher, but it did like truly disturb me. So I think I would be reading more LaRocca. I really don't know what else to say besides that, but it was like truly horrifying to see the lengths that people will go to please somebody. The internet is a scary place. Coda and I are headed to a concert today. We're going to the XG concert, but I did finish reading Thornhedge and didn't talk about it. I didn't realize that this was a Sleeping Beauty retelling, which was interesting because Sleeping Beauty is the villain in this one. So it's an interesting perspective, but overall I'm giving it 3 stars because I was kind of confused of what was going on, and I wasn't really super invested in it until the end. So I think this is 3 or 3.5 stars. The book that I'm bringing to the concert with me, which is the book that I wish that I finished yesterday, was A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Mallerman. This is so weird. 2 kids, they're falling in love, they're 17, and on the first date, the guy James takes Amelia out to this lake on his uncle's canoe, and they visit 3 different lakes. At the 3rd lake, it looks super remote there, and it looks like there is a house at the bottom of the lake, and they're exploring it. It looks like the house just exists there naturally. Nothing is floating. They're super connected to the house, and something happens and they decide to not visit it again. So that's where I'm up to. I really would like to finish this really quickly. Super easy to read. I read probably about 90% of this on a relatively short commute, so it was very, very easy to get through. I was flying through it. I didn't end up reading anything on my commute to the concert because Coda and I just listened to the discography of the group we were going to see, XG, but I did just finish this just now, and I was in a really great place with this. Like I said, I was really flying through it, and I really wanted to know why the house existed, how it worked, but I think asking that really kind of ruins the magic, as James and Amelia thought it would for them, which is why they made that rule of not asking how or why. It's just this house for the 2 of them that they're enjoying. Very creepy, but something about the house really drew them to it, or the lake was drawn to them, the house was drawn to them. I'm not sure if I loved the ending though, but I still think that this was so readable. I think it would be really great palette cleanser as well, especially with it being so short and it's so easy to get through. So I think overall I did really like it though, so I'm giving it 4 stars. Had I enjoyed the ending or something about it a little bit more, it could have been like 4.5 or 5, but I think it is a really great job in creating this really eerie atmosphere, because it's not quite scary, but it kind of is, because like the house likes them, we think. I'm going out to a birthday party, a costume birthday party, with it being in October, so I think I'll bring another one of these small little novellas with me. Today I finally posted on my socials about Coda and I getting engaged, and I'm feeling like so overwhelmed with the amount of comments that I'm getting, and I'm feeling really happy. And it feels so much more real now because more people know. I am slowly getting ready, making sure that I am eating and filling my stomach before I go out to drink, because I was not really drinking on my Europe trip either. I might start another book before I leave instead of just on my commute though. I realized I completely forgot to update this video, but I'm about to head to the library to return a bunch of the books because I read so much more during the Dodgers-Mets game. I finished The Woods All Black by Mandelo. What did I give this one? This was quite confusing. Leslie Bruin is working with the Frontier Nursing Service as a trans man, is seen as this unruly tomboy in a very religious small town. There is a haunted aspect of it that I thought was really weird, and like none of this was really quite working for me. I gave this book 2 stars. I just like really had to reread the horror parts because I didn't really see where it was coming in. It was kind of scary in a different way, in like a non-actual horror way of like it being a small town and no one understands understanding being queer at the time and it being accepted. He was about to be like run out of town because of who they were. I think there were other queer people in the town, but that also felt a little unclear. I only wanted to read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, but it came in this bind up, so I chose to read The Lottery as well as The Demon Lover. And The Lottery, I realized I've read it in class before. I'm not really sure which class, but I gave that one 3 stars. This small town, they choose one person to like stone to death, I think, and it's just like so insane at the very end, but I feel like I could have like used more from it, so 3 stars just because it all kind of starts to happen at the very end. And in terms of The Demon Lover, it's about this woman. It's kind of like an anxiety attack in a story. This woman wakes up on the day of her wedding and her fiance is missing. She's looking for him, but I didn't really understand what was going on of like why it's the demon lover, and she's asking everyone, have you seen this man, have you seen this man, and she's chasing after him and she ends up somewhere and she still like doesn't find him. I was confused, so I give it 1 star. I'm counting those as 2 separate ones because I only wanted to read those 2. I didn't read the entire bind up, but they are available as like short stories individually. And I'm also getting sick. And then I read The Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata in a day as well. This was a really interesting book on like Japanese society, or just society in general, adulthood, and like joining the workforce. This was also inspired by the author's own time working in a convenience store. So this is about Keiko. She works at a convenience store full-time. She's 36 years old, living in Tokyo. She never really fit in, and she never really understood like social interactions, social cues, how to like behave or like really be able to hold down a job because of those things. And so she would mimic people's behaviors to sort of fit in better. She appears normal because of this. She is like given really high praise at this convenience store because she's worked there for so long. She knows exactly what to do, but she is getting this pressure to have children, to find a husband, because that's like what you're supposed to do. And so she decides to like quit her job and take all of these desperate actions in order to fit into this role as a person in society. I thought this was really interesting because I don't think that it just applies to Japanese society as well. I'm sure if you tweak it a little bit, it'll apply to any society. I wouldn't necessarily say I fell into the hype as much as everyone else did because people really love this book, but I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I'm currently reading The Man in the Picture by Susan Hill, which is about this person who purchases a piece of art depicting a Viennese like carnival or something like that, and there's just something about this painting that is very, very peculiar. Anyone who looks at it can't seem to look away, and it holds this really eerie secret. I read about half of it so far. It's only 100 pages on the Kindle edition that I'm reading via Libby, and it's supposed to have like these hidden demons within it or something that you see about yourself. It's so creepy because the longer you look at it, the more the different things that you see that you might have not have noticed before. When you look into it, you're like, hey, I've seen that person before, maybe? It's getting a little bit creepy. I'm not sure how horror it is, but it's categorized as gothic, ghost story, paranormal. The thing about like short stories though is that I feel like I'm not getting enough of it, so I really want short stories to pack more of a punch, kind of like this one. I think this one I enjoyed the most, but I'm gonna go return all of these from the library because I think I have some books to pick up as well before I go out tonight for an event. I will check in again once I finish The Man in the Picture. Look at my library haul. I think it's like 8 books. I just sat here and finished The Man in the Picture by Susan Hill. Immediately I wanted to give it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. The ending was what? But I felt like it sort of lagged for me, and I was kind of bored, and I was also forgetting who was who and like who was narrating, because that would switch as well, because there's a lot of storytelling of like why this painting is important to which person and how adamant Oliver was of keeping it. And oh my gosh. Anyway, so I think I'm giving this 3.75 just because of that, but I think this is so interesting because it is not quite horror. I would say it's also quite gothic, but it's very eerie, and it's so interesting too because I've been to Venice before, and it's like this really beautiful, quaint town to me, and it really reminded me a lot of Kyoto, where my family's from. And then seeing this and like seeing the people go there and seeing, oh, it's supposed to be this beautiful place, but every time I turn the corner I think of horror and how threatening of a place it is. Really makes you see it in a different light. Anyway, now I have to think of a book to bring to the event. Actually, I have a bunch of ebooks, a bunch of graphic novels to read, which is funny too because the library haul that I have is all graphic novels as well. I didn't realize that I had put so many on hold, so maybe I'll do a graphic novel reading vlog as well. I think that would be fun because it will be great for catching up on your Goodreads reading goal, which is the point of this video. Let me see how much I have left to read. I am about to mark this book as finished, which leaves me with 108 books read this year so far, and now only 5 books behind. I'm taking that as a win because I think that's really great. I did read quite a lot, but I also like spread out the videos that I was reading for this because I wasn't doing a lot of reading on my trip, so I'm really happy with how this went actually. And if you are taking any of these books to read to catch up on your Goodreads goal, I hope it helps. I forgot that I started this video at the end of last month, so I have actually read 10 books for this, and it started out pretty rough because all 3 books that I started out with were all 1 stars, and in total you'll see here in the graphic that I've made that I had 4 1-star books, but it's okay because I did come out with Josh Mallerman's The House at the Bottom of the Lake being really good, and The Man in the Picture, the last book I read for this, was quite enjoyable, the ending, and I had a decent time with Convenience Store Woman. Overall, I know that like I have a harder time with novellas, so I really like them to pack a punch. So if you have one that you can recommend that wraps up really nicely or like leaves it on this like really killer cliffhanger, that would be amazing. And so far I'm really happy with how much I've caught up because it is coming to the end of October right now, but I feel confident with the amount of graphic novels that I have left, and I'm really excited to start them also. So I hope you enjoyed and that you are working hard on your Goodreads goal. I'm rooting for you. I'll see you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!